The episode begins with Parasite going berserk in Metropolis. Elongated Man lies on the ground in defeat, looking like a puddle while Metamorpho tries to match its attacks only to be rammed in a nearby building and get sucked out of his powers. A Batarang comes slashing through the air going toward Parasite, who only absorbs the explosion. Batman, who never asks for reinforcement, finally asks for backup. However, Superman is busy saving a plane from hurtling to the ground. After landing the plane to safety, he quickly travels to the location only to see the Justice League's new recruit defeat Parasite. He introduces himself as Captain Marvel and is Superman's biggest fan. As the heroes are about to leave, reporters, including Lois Lane, throng around Captain Marvel. They ask several questions, including those about Lex Luthor's candidacy. Captain Marvel nonchalantly mentions Luthor's betterment and accidentally endorses Luthor's presidential bid. After the interview, Captain Marvel flies to his hometown, Fawcett City, and lands in an elementary school. He shouts the magic word Shazam and transforms into his real 10-year-old self, Billy Batson. Aboard the Watchtower, Captain Marvel cheerfully greets every hero he comes across when Superman demands his presence before the 7 founding members of the League. Superman reprimands Marvel for his gratuitous remarks on Luthor's candidacy. The media has used his words as a positive reinforcement to back up Luthor's bid, and it is all over the news. Marvel firmly defends his perspective and asserts that everyone can change for the better, including Luthor. Superman denies his explanation and orders him not to make any public statements without the League's permission. On television, Luthor is in an interview with Phil O'Bannon discussing his newest project, the Lexor City, a paradise for low-income families. Superman watches intently while Luthor explains that he cannot blame those people who still doubt his good intentions. People can change, he states, and takes Hawkgirl as an example of the change he talks about. Captain Marvel then arrives. Superman hushes him when he asks about the show, and both continue to watch as Luthor recalls Hawkgirl's betrayal on Earth during the Thanagarian invasion, which almost destroyed the planet. But despite her betrayal, the Justice League accepts her as part of them again. Luthor then mentions the promotion he gets from Captain Marvel's statements, and he indeed tends to make the most of it. He admits that he hopes Superman will attend Lexor City's opening. Batman and Superman are in the middle of a fight against a group of supervillains while talking about the recent council meeting with Captain Marvel. Batman tells him that he may have been rough with Captain Marvel. Superman is confused as to why everyone in the League defends Captain Marvel. Batman casually replies that the members have gotten fond of Captain Marvel, whom he pertains to as Sonny. All of a sudden, Superman receives a call from Professor Hamilton reporting a theft at Star Labs. Hamilton explains that the thief did not get anything valuable like gems, but instead stole nearly 4 pounds of weapons-grade kryptonite. Upon examination of the locks, Batman finds that it has been forced open using nanotechnology, one Luthor uses in LexCorp. Superman concludes that Luthor must be the one behind it, but Batman insists that maybe someone stole the technology from Luthor to frame him up. He suggests that the theft is kinda sloppy for someone like Luthor and tells Superman to attend the charity event to keep a close watch on Luthor while he goes back to the Watchtower to ask for Adam's help analyzing the evidence. Superman attends the opening of Lexor City, where he overheard something from Luthor and Mercy Graves about a device being put in place and securing Luthor's escape route. He scans the buildings and sees a suspiciously dangerous device with a timer under the playground. He immediately alerts the people to evacuate. Billy also happens to be there and transforms into Captain Marvel. He approaches Superman, who is trying to break through the ground to recover the device. Luthor stops Superman and explains that it is only a powerful generator that will supply power to the whole city. His surprise to the awaiting crowd. Captain Marvel suggests that they get someone to investigate. However, Superman does not listen, and this time, Captain Marvel steps in to stop him. Superman swings his arm and flings Captain Marvel across the statue. Upon seeing that Superman won't listen to him, Captain Marvel decides to fight. Flying at high speed, the two charge toward each other. The impact releases a force capable of shattering the glass panels on the nearby buildings. A group of reporters covering the battle flee as Captain Marvel slumps on the ground. Superman's fist lands on Captain Marvel's chin, sending Marvel through a building as he follows up with punches one after the other. The building collapses as Captain Marvel gains the upper hand. Blow by blow, Captain Marvel rears back his arms and pounds Superman in the air. One heavy strike and Superman comes crashing through a building. The fight continues as the two try to overpower one another and buildings are torn to pieces. Superman tears open a vault. He catches Captain Marvel off guard and slams the vault door onto him, thrice, until he cannot move. Superman proceeds underground to the device when Captain Marvel appears and strains him. Captain Marvel utters his magic word and deals 2 lightning strikes to Superman. On his 3rd attempt, Superman manages to grab him so his own lightning hits him. He transforms into his harmless self, Billy Batson. Before Billy can say the word again, Superman covers his mouth and then melts the device with his heat vision. Their fight dealt a tremendous amount of damage in Lexor City. Later, Adam examines the device and confirms what Luthor says is actually true. It is only a power generator. Superman apologizes and assures Luthor that the League will cover the price of their actions. Luthor accepts his apology, but insists on dealing with the damage himself as he walks away, followed by the media. In a council meeting, Captain Marvel expresses how he looks at the League with dismay and disappointment after what he witnessed and what happened between him and Superman. He looks up to them, especially to Superman, but for him, the way Superman reacted is not how heroes should be. He then announces his departure from the League. The council looks down as he leaves the room. After hearing Captain Marvel's thoughts, Superman agrees. Batman suddenly says that they framed up Superman. Puzzled, Superman asks who are Batman referring to as they. In his office, Luthor informs his unknown accomplice that the plan turned out to be better than expected. Not only did Superman destroy Lexor City, but also fought Captain Marvel. Superman's actions boosted his public image. He then offers a glass of champagne to the woman in front of him, Amanda Waller. On the next episode, in the Watchtower, someone snatches Green Lantern from the inside of one of the chambers. It was Vixen. She mentions their date later that night at a Chinese restaurant in Beijing. However, John is very serious about his duty and insists on separating their relationship from their job. Before he leaves, Vixen clings onto him and plants a kiss as a goodbye. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Jayons deals with a distress call from alien miners trapped due to the radiation from a strange ore they are taking samples. Shayra examines the data from the ore and determines it to be an unrefined version of the same metal used in her mace, the NTH metal. She insists on going alone to assist the miners, but Jayons wants to assign a support team. Although Green Lantern volunteers, Jayons allows Vixen instead. Green Lantern confronts Jayons about his decision in fear that a conflict may arise during the mission. Vigilante joins Shayra and Vixen. Aboard the Javelin, the three proceed to the mining location. However, they cannot find any mining ship or even the miners when they arrive. The Javelin also cannot detect any presence of NTH metal. They sense something strange but still decide to explore the mine. Inside, Shayra discovers the mine to be a hologram. Suddenly, laser beams fired at them from unseen enemies lurking in the shadows. It forces them to retreat to the Javelin, which later explodes from an attack. The squad has no choice but to take cover on the rocks. A familiar voice calls upon Shayra's name. It was Parandul, accompanied by Thanagarian warriors, a unit she leads. Parandul bitterly recounts the downfall of the Thanagarian Empire due to Shayra's betrayal of her own race. During the invasion on Earth, Shayra helped the Justice League to destroy the hyperspace bypass, the Thanagarians' only hope in winning the war against the Gordanians. In that war, Hro Talek, Shayra's former lover, sacrificed his own life to tear down the Gordanian fleet. Taken over by guilt, Shayra tells them about surrendering herself to the Thanagarians. Vigilante and Vixen oppose her and say that the League does not turn against each other's backs. The Thanagarians advance toward their location, but there's nobody behind the rock. In the forest, while pursued by Parandul's unit, Shayra suggests they split up to find Parandul's ship to contact the Watchtower for help. But Vigilante objects and implies that Shayra is a Thanagarian. There is a chance she is still loyal to her race. Vixen sides with Shayra and acknowledges Shayra's leadership in their mission. However, Vigilante hesitates to trust Shayra as he is still affected by the humiliation he suffered at the hands of the Thanagarian. In the middle of the argument, Shayra sees Vigilante's wound on the leg. He acquires his wound during the ambush. Shayra expresses her gloomy outlook on herself, but Vixen encourages her and says how she was praised by Jon Stewart all the time. The trio then agree to work together. On the way to find the ship, Shayra senses an attack, and there come the Thanagarians dashing toward them. Vigilante and Vixen take a higher ground for safety. Shayra faces Kragger, who loathes her for the passing of Hro Talek. Kragger steps forward while shooting his laser beams. Another Thanagarian joins him. Shayra stumbles backward as she deflects their attacks with her mace. From atop, Vixen leaps onto the enemies using the force of an elephant. Vixen pins them on the ground while she instructs Shayra to take Vigilante away, and she will soon follow. As soon as the two leave, Kragger is able to use his robot hand to electrocute Vixen. When she is about to take a bullet, Vixen offers Shayra in exchange for sparing her life. She deceives them into bringing her to their ship. She knocks down the Thanagarian and sneaks into the bridge to call for help. But before she can tell Jayons their situation, Parandul appears behind her and holds her at gunpoint. Hiding in the forest, Shayra already knows that Vixen was kidnapped, so she decides to turn herself in for Vixen's safety. Meanwhile, Vigilante, who was left behind, sets up a trap to capture a Thanagarian and forces it to reveal the ship's location. In the sky, Shayra meets Parandul and her Thanagarian unit. She agrees to surrender without any force or tricks involved. However, after they restrain her, Kragger breaks the deal and drops Vixen. She struggles to break free and save Vixen, when Vigilante aboard the Thanagarian ship comes to the rescue. Shayra manages to escape at the same time, but Krager charges forward and grips her. Meanwhile, Vixen is about to enter the ship when Parandol latches onto her and both drop into the cockpit. They exchange punches, each showing their own combat skills. Vixen swings backward and delivers a heavy kick, eliminating Parandol from the ship. In the air, Shayra wrestles Krager as she tries to grab his power supply and forcefully pulls it apart. Krager lost control of his armor and plunges to the ground. A ship appears over her carrying Vixen and Vigilante. Back at the watchtower, the crew tends to Vigilante's injuries. Green Lantern greets Vixen, but the two ladies walk past him and completely ignore his presence. Later, Vixen and Shayra talk over a drink and laugh over Jon Stewart's funny taste and habits. Vixen says Jon's feelings for Shayra are still there, and Shayra admits to feeling the same. The two then raise a toast for a friendly competition over Jon's affections.